Hey everyone, this is Friedel Hacker Azure Raven, and I'm back with my recap and review of I Am the Night Season 1, Episode 2, which is titled Phenomena of Interference. So, in the previous episode, we saw that Fauna has reached Los Angeles and she tried to contact her grandfather, George Hodel, but he wasn't picking up. So, a good thing is that Fauna has relatives that she can go and stay at. So, she is staying at her. I'm not sure, but I guess it's her adoptive mother's cousin, I guess. So she's staying there, and yeah, her cousin is going to be the one who is going to take Fauna to visit Dr. George Hodel. So moving on, we see that Jay Singletary is trying to get on the case of George Hodel because after he received a call from Fauna's adoptive mother about how he should continue to look into the case revolving around Dr. Hodel. And you can see the sense of urgency that he has because going after Hodel was the reason that Jay's career ended, and you can see that he wants another chance. So it's interesting to the entire thing is quite interesting. So he tells his boss about how Dr. George Hodel was accused of having an illegal abortion clinic, and he had his daughter Tamar, and Tamar was the one who was to serve as the key witness in the case that Jay Singletary was working on, but then she disappeared and whatnot. So you can so yeah, Jay needs another chance. So another thing that I like about the series is how it is trying to showcase the racism and the classism that existed in that time in Los Angeles. I would have wanted the entire series to do more, but it is kind of sprinkled around the series, which kind of makes sense because considering that this is a 6 episode miniseries, the writer can't necessarily focus too much on it. But yeah, moving on. We see Fauna and her cousin reach the Hodel residence and she knocks on the door, but Dr. Hodel isn't there. So she goes with her cousin to a party and she meets this new guy. And again, we have that racism and classism thing about how Fauna is given privilege because of her skin color and whatnot. So it's an interesting take, and it is kind of unfortunate that certain aspects of racism and classism still exist to this day. So moving on, Jay Singletary decides to go home, and he ends up meeting this ex-girlfriend who is a drug addict. And I mean, I would like the writer is trying to tell us about how what these two characters were, and then the George Hodel case happened, and it kind of felt like a contrast. Like we didn't get any flashbacks, but through narration and exposition, we ended up seeing what kind of character Singletary was and how the entire Hodel drama ended up destroying him. So yeah, it was an okay interaction. So Fauna decides to call her grandmother again, who happens to be George Hodel's ex-wife. And yeah, she doesn't remember Fauna calling her last night, but even then, she invites her to come visit her. So it turns out that the Brewster case that Jay was working on, an African American person confessed to the murder, but Jay isn't convinced. So Fauna goes to meet her grandmother, her adoptive grandmother or whatnot, and her name is Connie, if I'm not wrong. I'm way weird with the names. I'll need more time to figure out the names, but I guess her name is Connie. And she tells Fauna about how respected her family is and whatnot. And she also tells Fauna about how she shouldn't trust Tamar. And Tamar is Fauna's biological mother. So again, we have a scene where Jay is talking to one of his old friends about Hodel having an illegal abortion clinic, and that Hodel is a dangerous man and he needs to go down. So he decides to go and visit the ex-wife as well. Not visit per se, but just look at things. And this is where he ends up noticing a young girl, Fauna, with the woman. And Jay is trying to figure out who that young girl is because he knows that she is too young to be Tamar. So he decides to follow the two. And this is an enjoyable scene where Connie ends up teaching Fauna about the etiquettes that she should be displaying because she is a member of the Hodel family. And Fauna is really a fish out of water. She doesn't necessarily fit into her adoptive family, and she also doesn't necessarily fit into her real, like, biological family. So Jay decides to go and visit some prostitutes because apparently Brewster was a prostitute, and he decides to ask the women that Brewster worked with about the African American man who confessed about cleaning Brewster, and he tries to get a few answers. And this is where he also figures out that the young girl that he saw was actually Fauna, or maybe she's Tamar's daughter, or maybe she's one of the survivors from the abortion clinic or whatnot. But yeah, he kind of like he joins the dot. He knows that she is Tamar's daughter or somehow related to the Hodel family. So in a very creepy scene, we see that Connie or Corrine, I guess her name is Corrine, right? Corina Hodel, yeah. So Corina Hodel takes Fauna to an art gallery, and she leaves Fauna on her own, and Fauna like walks around, and this is where she ends up meeting a man who happens to be George Hodel, and she instantly recognizes that man being the one she met back in the first episode, the man who sat with her at the bus station. So of course Fauna is very creeped out, and she and Corey decide to leave. And Jay Singletary has been following them, and because he now understands that the young girl is actually Fauna Hodel, he decides to find her, but it's too late because when he notices that Fauna isn't there, Fauna and Corinne are actually leaving the art gallery. So of course he's going to go and he's going to do everything he can to find her. So during the drive towards the bus station, this is where Corinne tells Fauna about her not being black, about how her mother lied about how Fauna's father was African American and whatnot. So of course, Fauna's entire identity is shattered. She doesn't believe Corinne because of the birth certificate that she has, and she asks Corinne to just leave her be, and she goes and sits in the bus stop again. She sits in the section of the bus that is meant for African American or colored people. And the episode ends with the man who has been following Fauna sitting in the same bus. So again, it's a very creepy episode. It's fun, it's thrilling, it's enjoyable. I Am the Night isn't a perfect show, but it does make for some engrossing, like it's fun. It's still fun to watch, and you know that it's only 6 episodes long, so it's not much of an investment. And Patty Jenkins returned to direct this episode, and she does give a cinematic feel to the entire thing, which makes this show stand out from the rest. I also did a written review of this for the Geekiary. The link to that will be down in the comment section below as soon as the review goes up. Let me know if you guys are fans of I Am the Night. I went through the ratings, and this episode ended up getting what was it, a 0.25 in the demo, which is kind of standard for the TNT shows. So it's good, it's acceptable. So yeah, let me know what you guys thought, and until next time, stay happy, stay safe, stay blessed, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.